The Young and the Restless spoilers. Abby moves out with Dom. Can't live with Devon's toxic anger anymore? The Young and the Restless. Y&R. Spoilers reveal that Abby Winters, Melissa Ordway, may be forced to take action if Devon Winters, Brighton James, refuses to listen to her warnings. This whole situation surrounding Mariah Copeland, Cameron Grimes, has snowballed into some marriage problems, which could soon get even worse. Devon tried and failed to get Mariah's plea deal overturned, so he's definitely been fuming about that. As far as Devon's concerned, Mariah's psychiatric facility stint isn't a real punishment and doesn't give them the justice they deserve. Devon doesn't understand why Abby isn't just as angry as he is, but she feels like Mariah getting the help she needs is most important. Now that Devon's attempt to undo the plea agreement has flopped, Abby just wants him to let this go. Abby also indicated that Dominic Winters, Ethan Ray Clark, was starting to pick up on the change in Devon's attitude. If Devon doesn't get a grip on his emotions and move on, Abby has made it clear they're going to have bigger issues. Unfortunately, Y&R spoilers suggest Devon will be too riled up to even think about putting his fury behind him. It feels like Devon's resentment is just going to grow stronger and lead to more instances of him lashing out. Since Abby already feels like Devon's anger is affecting Dominic, she might make a bold move if it gets worse. Dominic thankfully seems fine following his kidnapping ordeal, but Devon's outrage over it could stress him out and lead to trouble unless Abby intervenes. We could certainly imagine Abby deciding to put Dominic first and move out of the house with him until Devon can get his anger under control. Abby might pack some suitcases and announce that she's taking Dom to live at the Abbott mansion until Devon can get his act together. Devon is making the Chancellor estate toxic and could negatively affect Dominic's well-being far more than Mariah did with that abduction road trip. Do you think Devon will drive Abby away with all his bitterness? Should Abby and Dominic live at the Abbott mansion while Devon sorts through whatever's really up with him? The Young and the Restless spoilers say more troubling news may be ahead for Devon and Abby's marriage, so stick with the CBS soap. Explosive new drama may be about to rip apart one of Genoa City's most complicated relationships as the Young and the Restless spoilers hint that Abby could finally reach her breaking point with Devon and decide she can no longer expose little Dominic to the growing emotional chaos inside their home. What once looked like a passionate and unshakable love story is now beginning to resemble a relationship drowning under resentment, tension, and uncontrolled anger, and Abby may soon make the heartbreaking decision to walk away before things spiral even further out of control. For months, viewers have watched subtle cracks forming between Abby and Devon, but recent developments suggest those cracks are rapidly becoming impossible to repair. Devon has been carrying enormous emotional pressure from every direction. Corporate battles, family loyalty conflicts, betrayal fears, and constant stress have slowly transformed him into someone far more volatile than the calm and grounded man Abby originally fell in love with. At first, Abby tried to justify his mood swings as temporary stress, but now the emotional atmosphere inside their relationship has become increasingly toxic and unpredictable. The biggest issue is not simply that Devon has become angry. It is the intensity and frequency of that anger. Devon's frustration now seems permanently simmering beneath the surface, ready to erupt at the slightest provocation. Whether he is arguing over business decisions, family interference, or perceived betrayals, Devon increasingly reacts with harshness that leaves Abby emotionally drained. The warmth and emotional safety she once felt around him are disappearing, replaced by constant tension and anxiety. Abby has spent much of their relationship trying to be supportive and understanding, especially because she knows Devon has endured painful losses and complicated family struggles throughout his life. But even love has limits, and Abby may finally be realizing that she cannot continue sacrificing her own emotional stability to manage Devon's unpredictable moods. More importantly, she cannot ignore how the tension inside their home may eventually affect Dominic. Dominic has always been the center of Abby's world. Every major decision she makes ultimately comes back to protecting her son and creating a stable environment for him. As Devon's emotional volatility grows worse, Abby may begin questioning whether their home still feels emotionally safe and healthy for a child. That terrifying realization could become the catalyst that changes everything. Spoilers suggest upcoming episodes may feature several explosive confrontations between Abby and Devin where long-suppressed frustrations finally come pouring out. Abby reportedly becomes increasingly exhausted by Devin's defensiveness and inability to recognize how deeply his anger is affecting everyone around him. Every conversation turns into conflict. Every disagreement escalates into emotional warfare. Instead of working together as partners, Abby and Devin seem trapped in an endless cycle of blame and resentment. One particularly emotional turning point may occur after Devin lashes out during a family discussion involving the Winters clan or Chancellor Winters' business drama. Abby is said to be deeply shaken by how quickly Devin loses control emotionally, especially in front of Dominic. While Devin may later regret his outburst, the damage could already be done. Abby may realize she has spent too long hoping things would improve, while conditions inside the relationship continued deteriorating. The heartbreaking part is that Abby still loves Devin deeply. This is not a situation where feelings have disappeared. In many ways, that emotional attachment makes the situation even more painful because Abby understands the man Devin used to be still exists somewhere beneath the anger and bitterness. But loving someone and living peacefully with them are not always the same thing. Abby may finally accept that reality in devastating fashion. Meanwhile, Devin likely feels increasingly misunderstood and isolated. From his perspective, he may believe he is fighting to protect his family, his business, and the people he loves. He probably sees his anger as justified responses to pressure and betrayal rather than recognizing how destructive his behavior has become emotionally. That disconnect creates one of the relationship's most tragic problems because Devin may genuinely fail to understand why Abby is pulling away from him. As tension builds, Abby could begin leaning more heavily on trusted family members for support. Ashley Abbott may encourage Abby to prioritize her emotional well-being instead of endlessly excusing Devin's behavior. Nina could also play a major role by helping Abby confront difficult truths she has been avoiding. Even Victor Newman may quietly support Abby's decision if he believes Dominic's stability is at risk. Naturally, the possibility of Abby moving out with Dominic would create enormous fallout throughout Genoa City. Devin would likely view the move as both betrayal and abandonment, triggering even more emotional instability. His fear of losing his family could intensify his anger rather than calming it, potentially creating a vicious cycle that pushes Abby even further away. Friends and relatives may become divided over who is truly responsible for the relationship's collapse. Chancellor could also become an important factor in the unfolding drama. Although Abby and Chance's romantic relationship ended, they still share a complicated emotional bond through Dominic and their shared history. If Abby turns to Chance for emotional support during her crisis with Devin, it could ignite explosive jealousy and insecurity. Devin already struggles with trust issues, and seeing Abby reconnect emotionally with Chance could send him into a dangerous emotional tailspin. Fans are already speculating that Abby's potential move-out storyline may pave the way for a larger custody conflict involving Dominic. While Abby would almost certainly never try to erase Devin from Dominic's life, she may insist that boundaries become necessary until Devin addresses his emotional instability. Devin, however, may interpret any limitations as attempts to push him out of his son's life entirely. That misunderstanding could transform emotional separation into full-scale war. The emotional intensity of these possible developments is exactly why viewers are so invested. Abby and Devin were once portrayed as a mature and stable pairing capable of weathering almost anything together. Watching that foundation slowly collapse under unresolved anger and emotional exhaustion feels painfully realistic even within the heightened world of daytime drama. Many fans sympathize with Abby's growing frustration while simultaneously understanding Devin's deep emotional wounds. Another major layer to the storyline involves Devin's fear of abandonment. Devin has experienced tremendous loss throughout his life, and those scars continue shaping his emotional reactions. Losing Abby and Dominic even temporarily could reopen some of his deepest insecurities, causing him to spiral further emotionally. Instead of calmly addressing Abby's concerns, Devin may lash out defensively because admitting vulnerability feels too terrifying. Abby, however, appears increasingly determined to protect herself and Dominic before the situation worsens. She may begin recognizing patterns she previously ignored, including how often she walks on eggshells around Devon to avoid triggering conflict. That realization alone could become a major wake-up call. Abby has always been strong-willed and independent, and spoilers suggest she may soon rediscover that inner strength in powerful ways. Viewers should also expect major emotional scenes involving Dominic as Abby struggles with the guilt of potentially disrupting her son's family structure. She never wanted Dominic growing up in a fractured home environment, but she may ultimately conclude that constant emotional hostility is even more damaging. Those internal struggles could produce some of the storyline's most heartbreaking moments. Corporate pressure will likely continue fueling Devon's emotional decline as well. The constant stress surrounding Chancellor Winters, loyalty conflicts, and family expectations has left Devon emotionally exhausted and increasingly reactive. Instead of finding comfort at home, he brings that frustration into his relationship with Abby, creating a toxic emotional environment neither of them knows how to escape anymore. If Abby ultimately decides to move out with Dominic, the aftermath could permanently alter multiple relationships across Genoa City. Devon's relationships with the Winters family may become strained as relatives push him to confront his behavior. Abby's connection to the Newman family could strengthen as they rally around her. Dominic may become the emotional center of an escalating conflict involving love, fear, resentment, and desperation. There is also the possibility that Abby leaving could finally force Devon into genuine self-reflection. Sometimes people do not fully recognize the damage they are causing until they face devastating consequences. Losing daily access to Abby and Dominic might push Devon to confront emotions he has been suppressing for far too long. Whether he chooses healing or further self-destruction remains the biggest question looming over the storyline. Soap fans know relationships on Y&R rarely and quietly, and this potential split appears headed toward emotionally explosive territory. The pain feels especially intense because Abby and Devon were once considered one of Genoa City's strongest couples. Watching them unravel under the weight of unresolved anger and emotional toxicity creates the kind of layered drama that keeps viewers emotionally invested week after week. As spoilers continue teasing major turning points ahead, one thing is becoming painfully clear. Abby may no longer believe love alone is enough to save her relationship with Devon. If she decides Dominic deserves peace and stability more than endless emotional tension, she could walk out the door despite how much it breaks her heart. And if that happens, Devon may finally realize too late that his uncontrolled anger cost him the family he fought so hard to build.